It's very exciting to have MCDM have a new character class join D&D Beyond. That's a
Yes.
big deal. That's a huge
Yes.
deal. What for those that do not know, what is the Illrigger?
So an Illrigger is effectively a knight that serves the seven cities of hell. Each city has an archdevil, and that archdevil will have elite operatives, and these operatives can be mages, assassins, knights, and your job as an Illrigger is to serve the ideals and further the agenda of the hells. It was an original class published by MCDM a few years back, and then they wanted to revise it. And so I was brought on as the project lead to not only revise it, but to bring in a couple more subclasses, which is the version that's now going on to D&D Beyond.
Who do you think the Illrigger appeals to as a player?
Oh, I think their Illrigger really appeals to people who like warlock players, people who like a lot of role play opportunities baked into their class and their mechanics. I think it also appeals to tactical players, people who like to sort of command and control the battlefield. The bread and butter of the Illrigger is that when you attack a creature, you place an infernal seal on that creature. And then you can sort of pop that seal for either additional damage or for different effects from your interdict boons. And so it's kind of this fun tactical interplay during combat where you are laying seals on and adapting on the fly to either detonate certain effects or deal a lot of damage at once, because when you detonate a seal, it will do a burst of damage, and if you were to detonate 3 at once, it would do 3 times that damage. Or well, 3, you'd roll 3 of that dice. And so you get to kind of adapt on the fly to the battlefield, and you get other things as well. You get to pick interdict boons, which are the effects that play off of your seals. You also get invoke hell abilities, similar to a paladin's channel divinity. Each subclass gets its own invoke hell that supplements and builds on what what the subclass is meant to do. Illrigger is meant to be sort of a martial class, but it also has a spellcaster subclass called the Architect of Ruin, which is made to sort of be like a Gish. And so in every instance, we're sort of encouraging a very martial play style, but it's also very flexible and very adaptable at the same time.
And there's different interdict boons, like because this feels like a class that very much stacks on its like core features over and over again. At second level, you have a variety of interdict boons, correct?
Correct. Yep. So when you hit second level, there are a number of interdict boons that you can choose from. And these can range from things, some might supplement your martial attacks, some might provide kind of interesting roleplay abilities or things that don't really stack on top of your attacks. Some might give you more crowd control. And so at second level, seventh level, and 13th level, you get to pick a variety of options and kind of customize your Illrigger.
Just for some flavor for people, we've got like a baiting seal, bedevil, soul eater, Styx apathy, swift retribution. That's all at second level. And then seventh level, you have Acheron's chain, Conflagran channel, eye of the gate. If you're sensing like kind of a dark theme here, like,
Yeah, exactly.
Shadow shroud, unleash
hell. Yeah.
Vengeful shot. And then at 13th level, we've got Dis's onslaught, flash of brimstone, hellish frenzy, hellsight, impaling shot, iron gowl,
Jail. Yeah.
iron jail. Okay, iron jail, last word, and then soul's doom. There are a lot of player options.
Yes.
A lot of different ways to go with this particular class, and that's the base class.
And that's the base class. And also in the base class, you have you get to choose what is a combat mastery as well. And that's in the base class. You get to choose, I want to say there are 5 or 6 it's bravado. It helps your AC if you're not wanting to be kind of a heavy armor Illrigger. You have brutal, which lets you command the battlefield, lets you push enemies around. You have inexorable, which encourages you to really get into the thick of it because you get a bonus to your saving throws equal to the number of creatures around you, up to 5. You have lies, which is a very popular one. It lets you use your charisma instead of your strength or dex for your weapons, which makes things like the Hell Speaker really viable. You have Lissom, which lets it make that's for more of the Shadow Master. It lets you move around the battlefield more. And then you have Unfettered, which was our option for ranged Illriggers. It increases the range for your seals and your seal placement and your baleful interdicts. So like it's very customizable, everything from interdict boons to subclass to combat mastery. We really wanted to allow a lot of different types of Illriggers.
On top of this, this new class has quite a few specific spells that come
Mhm.
along with it and cantrips, right?
Mhm.
So we've got Aura of Desecration, Hell's Lash. Again, everything's free on theme.
I have a soft spot for Hellfire because it's a cantrip that deals 2 damage types instead of 1. It deals both fire and necrotic damage. So very simple, but thematic as well, we thought. I do like Aura of Desecration. I think that because Illriggers tend to be so melee focused, that that's a really fun one. It makes the area around you necrotic and desecrated, and so you can get into melee with creatures and then punish them for it.
So along with this class, we're getting 5 new subclasses as well on D&D Beyond.
Hmm.
Can we go over what those are and what their
Yeah.
kind of core function is?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one, I've mentioned it, is the Architect of Ruin. And we wanted a spellcaster Illrigger. This was in the base Illrigger that was published first. And what I think is really neat about the Architect of Ruin is that it really supports several different play styles. It supports if you want a Gish, spellblade type character, it really supports that. You have spells that sort of enhance you and your ability to do melee things well. Things like shield of faith, command is another good one. It's giving you options in battlefield, but also it has options for a lot of out of combat utility. So if you want to rely on the main Illrigger class for your combat, but then take things like disguise self, invisibility, detect magic, you have that option as well. And then your seals, when you play an Architect of Ruin, are in the core class, are all about helping you be a better spellcaster and martial wielder. I love anything that lets me give disadvantage to people against my own classes. So submit, the 11th level feature, says if you have 2 seals on a creature, you can burn those seals and impose disadvantage on their saving throw. So really great crowd control option there. You can use seals to counterspell. You can use seals to actually make the target vulnerable to the damage of your spell. Um, and then you also have the ability you can make 2 weapon attacks, or you can make a weapon attack and cast a cantrip, or you can use your action to cast just a spell. So again, lots of options. You're going to see that that's a big theme with me, is I really like versatility and options. I'm a very tactically minded player. So that was really important to me when I was approaching this class.
And again, quite the spell list. So Hellspeaker also has fantastic art along with it.
Yes, I love the Hell Speaker art. Really fantastic work. A lot of illustrations in here were Grace Chung, Nick Despain, Patrick Hell, and Jason Hasenauer. And all of them did a phenomenal job. And Patrick Hell actually did the cover illustration as well, which again, can you get a better last name?
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Really phenomenal work.
So tell me about the Hellspeaker subclass.
So the Hell Speaker is It's trying to capture the fantasy of a silver-tongued devil, right? It's kind of your bard almost, and so when you have the Hell Speaker, it's about manipulating others, with your words alone. You have Charm Enemy, which, lets you place a seal on a creature to attempt to charm them, and then you also get benefits to creatures who you have seals on. Those will let you influence them a little bit further. One of the ones I think was most thematic and kind of funny is Let's Make a Deal, which is you give a bonus to your ally, but they have to succeed because if your devil finds out that you're giving power to other people and they're not holding up their end of the deal, um they get disadvantage on the next attack roll or saving throw they make for failing you and your devil at the moment that you offered them power. I think that's fun and thematic, kind of a fun risk versus reward thing. But everything in the Hell Speaker is about manipulating others and then preventing you from being manipulated and using your tongue to make things better for yourself. Your slippery words. Quid pro quo lets you bring allies into the field. And then intransigent makes it so that you and your allies can't be charmed while you're around. So very fun for people who like to play a bard. And your invoke hell options give you benefits against people who you have put seals on. You either gain advantage on attacks against them, or you can control enemies on the battlefield and make them attack their own allies.
Then we've got the Painkiller.
Painkiller. This was another original one in the original, and I love it. The idea with the Painkiller is that you are a strategist and you are commanding the battlefield and your allies. And so you get proficiency with heavy armor. You get to command your allies to make additional weapon attacks or cantrip attacks against your foes. Which I think is a really fun. You get that at 3rd level because that's kind of the bread and butter of the Painkiller. Is that like I am in charge? I am tactically controlling the battlefield. I am playing chess. And so at 3rd level, you get to suddenly output a ton of damage from you and your allies. Your invoke hell options are great. You can rearrange your allies, put them into more tactically advantageous positions. You can also retaliate against people who attack you. Your Dispatter's interdiction options that you get are phenomenal. Again, very controlling the battlefield. You can push people back. You can restrain them, and you get more chances for critical hits. The 11th level was a MCDM original. You have to think that this is probably Matt's. You can feel Matt Colville in it, but it's you die on my command. When your ally falls, you say, no, you don't, and they drop to 1 hit point instead and stay alive. So that's a very fun one. And then your Death Strike allows you to turn your hit into a critical hit and then double the damage dice for the burned seal as well. So a big devastating blow to kind of cap off that subclass.
Very nice. And then we got some nice creepy art along with this new subclass as well. We've got the Sanguine Knight.
The Sanguine Knight is my baby. This was one that I pitched in the revision. We wanted to add 2 subclasses, and we tossed around. We looked at what archdevils hadn't been touched yet, and when I saw Sutek, the Lord of Blood, I said I want that one because what the Sanguine Knight is, it's a support tank. You are still up in melee, you're still dealing damage, you're doing Illriggery things, but the blood that you draw from your enemies, you then take and you use it to empower and protect your allies. I have never gotten a chance to play a support tank, so the subclass was in some ways for me. This is a fantasy I really wanted to explore. but you can put shields on your allies, and then later you can also empower those shields so that they hurt people who try to hit your allies. You can restore hit points with your invoke hell options and also give a bonus to ability checks. One of my favorites, your interdiction options, you have foul interchange, which if your ally takes a condition, you can expend one of your seals to instead try to transfer that condition to an enemy instead. And then you also can hemal exchange. You can burn seals on them to make them subtract a d8 from their saving throws. When that happens, you can also give that d8 again to an ally and let them add that to their attack or saving throw. So it's a lot about taking blood and power from other people and then giving that to your allies.
Very cool. Very on theme.
Yeah.
And then we've got Shadow Master as a subclass.
Shadow Master, these are the assassins and spies and infiltrators of hell, again in the base subclass. So their whole kit is about making them a better spy, a better assassin. Their bread and butter is their strike from the dark, which when you strike an interdicted creature once per turn, you get to deal extra damage against them. You get the ability to cast Disguise Self without expending a spell slot. You can also, this was one that I was really excited about because I wanted to lean into the assassin idea. I really wanted to encourage the role play of these creatures or of these characters being assassins. And so No Escape lets you, if you're trying to hunt down someone who is running from you, you can use this invoke hell to prevent them from running so that they can't get away. We also give Master of Disguise, so you can be if you're not doing that, you can be popping Disguise Self and doing all of your infiltrating. You can become invisible with your interdictions. You can choose Veil of Lies to become invisible. You can spread out an area of darkness for you and your allies to work within. But then as you gain levels, you just become a better assassin. Your damage from your strike from the dark goes up. You can blind your targets. You can see through the dark better. You can move faster. So it's all about making you a better spy, a better assassin, a better infiltrator.
Cool. And I think that's all the subclasses, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
As if 5 was not enough. That's quite. No, it's amazing. It's amazing to get like a new class on D&D Beyond that doesn't happen every day, and then along with that, 5 subclasses, and then spells, and then we've got some items, don't we? We have like items.
We do. We do have items.
What are some items?
We have 2 items. Both of them very, to me, role play focused. One is called True Name. And the idea with True Name was it's not a specific type of weapon. The idea is the GM, it can be a longsword, it can be a bow and arrow. But it has what its base mechanics effectively are that it makes you better at being an Illrigger. You get a bonus to your attack and damage rolls, and then the damage to your seals goes up. And then depending on the rarity affects how much that happens. But the role play idea behind it was, as you know, devils, very much protect their true names, and knowing someone's true name, it gives you power over them. And so the idea is that this weapon was used by fiends in hell to basically secure contracts, like, make sure that a devil, because devils deal so much in contracts as well, make sure that they hold up their end of the bargain. Like, we're going to seal your name in this blade, and if you don't fulfill your contract, then we're going to pull your name out of it, and we are going to have your true name. And so if the Illrigger gets a hold of a true name and figures out how to access the names in it, they could potentially get the true names of a lot of fiends in hell and get a lot of political leverage. The Illrigger in many ways is also a little bit political because with the seven cities and contracts and squabbling devils vying for power, we wanted something that would let you would have just a little bit of role play juice in it, give you a lot of power if you can figure out how to unlock that weapon. The other one is called Bloodsbane. It is a oil that you apply it to your weapons and it can do a number of things based on what component you used to create the oil. It can either put the target under the effects of the Dome of Truth spell, paralyze them, allow you to track them, or put them under the effects of charm person. So a single oil, but it might appeal to assassins or hell speakers or any martial warrior as well.
What do you enjoy the most about designing?
I love trying to create things that then go on to create interesting stories at the table. For me, I have succeeded as a designer if I hear even one person come back to me and say, this thing created such a memorable moment for me that I will be talking about for years because it was just cool or emotional or impactful. Um, I see designing as in my day job. I help oversee the creation of cookbooks, and I see them as weirdly similar in a way because I'm not the one making the meal, but I'm giving someone the power to create a meal that hopefully becomes their favorite meal or a memorable meal or a meal that they use to bond with their families. And I see design a lot the same way. Um, you know, I love the Illrigger, but what I hope most of all for it is that it creates incredibly memorable moments of politicking and scheming and vying for power. And I hope that someone uses last word to survive something they shouldn't have survived, and then take on the day and win.
Yeah. Are you excited to have this in D&D Beyond?
I am so excited. This is such an incredible opportunity, and I really think it speaks to the impressiveness of MCDM's playtesters. They are a powerful team of playtesters who did a lot of work to make this ready and for D&D Beyond. I think that it's flavorful, and that's because of Matt Colville's vision. I think that its mechanics are really solid, and that's because of James Introcaso and Mario Ortegon really laying the foundation for me to come in and shepherd this to the end. It's exciting for all of us, for the artists, the editors, the writers. It's exciting for everybody, and it's such an honor